Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Joe Hawkins. Contrary to what it says in your programme, I'm not the chair of Exeter St James Forum, because nobody is. Nobody wants to do it again, but so I'm de facto it. I'd like to take a slightly different approach now for my next few minutes. As you'll see from the graphic there, St James is butterfly-shaped city ward with the University of Exeter to our north and the city centre to our south. John Lewis, a fairly new arrival in Exeter, is actually in the ward. The ward has more than 53% of residents are full-time students, a growth of 11% from one census to the next. And we set up the forum in 2013 in order to counter what we saw as the growth of HMOs and the changing nature of the ward. And so the logo for the neighbourhood plan was for a balanced and vibrant community. I won't talk about the neighbourhood plan process itself. It took 2 years, start to finish. We did pretty well everything ourselves, and that was the easy bit. The challenge for us is what's happened since, because Exeter is not a parish council. The forum, as some of you will know, and I have sent a letter to the minister on this one, the forum has no statutory status in planning. The neighbourhood plan itself is an adopted plan. That's great, but we don't have any status. And we've had to think through and set up very quickly a system of panels and project groups in order that we can keep driving forward the neighbourhood plan, protecting the neighbourhood plan, and implementing some of its policies. We had a design panel which was supposed to be doing this for us, our own members. And straight away we ran into a problem because we have a policy for the future of the Exeter Cricket Club. I will say that we believe that the council misinterpreted our policy and gave consent to the demolition of the pavilion, no problem there, but to replace it with 4 multi-storey student blocks. We felt that was overdevelopment. But the council said, well, you know, we've interpreted it as best we can. So we took them to a legal challenge, or we started the process of a legal challenge. And that was enough, first of all, to change the external appearance of these new student blocks, but also to win from a very willing council the agreement that although we have no statutory status, they will treat the forum as a body that does. And so from now on, and it's working well, they tell any developer coming into St James, you've got to talk to St James Forum. We've changed the name of the design panel to Planning and Design Panel, so there's no misunderstanding about its purpose. And we've have the agreement from the council that whenever we ask them to send a planning or a highways officer to join us in a meeting with a potential developer or any interest group, they will do so. That's a good start. But for the rest, how do we drive things forward? We have no money. The forum is a voluntary body. We don't charge our members any subscription. And we needed to raise money to think about how we could implement the projects. Now, the neighbourhood plan has many policies, and at the back of it, which the examiner was not interested in, there are many, many more projects. These were the types of developments, improvements to the ward of St James that during the consultation process for the neighbourhood plan came forward as what the residents would like to see. Number one priority, which we did turn into a policy, is a triangle of unloved green land, open land on a busy street junction. And we have a policy to turn that into a community open space. We still don't know who owns it. The council is about to go through a CPO process. But in order for us to take it over from the council, we needed to raise money. And that wasn't going to come through the forum. That isn't the vehicle for that. And so through the St James Forum, we have set up a separate organisation, the Exeter St James Community Trust. And it's a community benefit society, one vote, one share type of thing, where, and I've got a few more of these if anybody would like to take shares, we have launched with a share offer of £1 per share, minimum £5. That is just to establish the membership When the CPO is through with the council, we will do a full shareholding offer so that we can start to implement the proposals for reviving and restoring Queen's Crescent Garden and allow the trust then to move forward with other projects. We're looking for housing opportunities, not greenfield. Our neighbourhood plan wasn't controversial because there is no greenfield, one of the reasons it went through quickly. But we know that there is a need for more affordable housing. Community building, perhaps, the right to build. We'll be looking at those options. But the first step is to establish the Queen's Crescent Garden as a community open space, and we look forward to getting that achievement. We have also set up, in order to have a better liaison with the university, better understanding, a community liaison panel with the university, with the Students' Guild, and with their own community liaison officer. And that's good, that works at the ground level. In addition, we've set up a joint strategic group at a very high level at the university so that the senior people at the university understand what the community is interested in, what its concerns are about the growth in students living in the area, their behaviour and so on. That's had 2 meetings, they're going to meet every term, and I think that's already proven to be a bit of success. The council comes to those meetings, and a neighbourhood partnership in the ward next to us comes. And we have now, possibly because the first meeting coincided with Freshers' Week last year, which was a particularly disastrous Freshers' Week. Complaint after complaint about the noise at 3 a.m. And the university has agreed that with its ongoing expansion, it is going to be looking to find more on-campus sites for residential accommodation. This is good news for us. That's an achievement. So the message really from St James is, if you're a forum, you're not a parish, you have no precept, you've got no money, how do you keep the show on the road? And the answer is, it's a challenge, but an interesting one, an exciting one. And our next step is boundary changes. St James Ward was only became a ward in 2001. We have boundary changes in 2016, next year, which means that in fact the ward could be split. The neighbourhood plan remains intact, but the ward could be split. That's going to be an interesting challenge. But I think there are a number of us, volunteers, who wanted to succeed. We have the support of the council, and we intend to go along that way. We have a couple more years of the forum to run. Will it go on? Who knows? But the neighbourhood plan itself will go on. Thank you.